have a few questions to ask the board members as well as the administration of the Knox County Career Center. First, I would like to know why the skills competition did not take place at the school this year. I feel that KCC has participated in other schools' competitions that when given the opportunity, we should have stepped up to the plate and hosted the event. Why did we cancel? Another concern I have for the school is that we are seeing, and the students are seeing, amongst all the issues that are taking place, is almost a sense of bullying. But I feel that the bullying they are experiencing is coming from the administration. I have tried to teach my children to help with community events, give back to the community that they live in. Some of what I'm seeing of the administration is going against the community. Businesses spoke on how the Career Center has programs that help them, and then you want to start eliminating programs. Why not make your community better and support what makes the businesses as well as community members satisfied? I don't understand why the students in the engineering drafting program have had to have such a roller coaster ride this year, as well as the instructor. This really saddens me that this has been so poorly handled. This has left a bad taste to many that I hope that KCC remains on an outstanding educational facility. I hope that the staff can someday come to school and feel the unique, wholesome, at ease, happy place KCC used to be. For now, teachers, parents, and students feel the tension in the air. We have highly qualified teachers, and I hope that they will hang on a little bit longer. In closing, I would like to thank each and every one of you for allowing me to speak. It has been a long time to come, so I sincerely appreciate the time. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jessica Miller, and I'm a 2004 graduate of Knox County Career Center and East Knox High School. I was actually a student of Mr. Jefferson's. Can you hear me? Mr. J was not only my instructor, but he is a friend, life coach, and most importantly, a role model. I would like to share emails received from Superintendent Bernie Packmeyer following the February school board meeting and the result of the administrative leave of Mr. Steve Jefferson. My parents, Emily and Lee Butler, took it upon themselves to contact Ms. Packmeyer and Mr. Robert Kirk regarding this matter after receiving a simple, "Thank you for asking Emily. We have had 3 years in the program with low enrollment," and signed Bernie. My parents were unsatisfied, to say the least, with the lack of answers. The email my mother returned was as follows: "I will guarantee that low enrollment is not due to anything Mr. Jefferson has done. He is one of the most dedicated teachers we have ever known. We have the highest respect for Mr. J and would really appreciate an honest and truthful answer as to why he has not been allowed to speak at the board meetings as he has requested, and why, if he was such a threat, that he was allowed to enter the school the next day. We heard that he was suspended for 3 days without pay for going out to recruit students. Why? You don't seem to understand that our community will not stand by and allow you to persecute a fine, honest, and upstanding man." In reply to this email, Ms. Packer responded as follows: "In October after count week, I went to Steve and told him although the program would close due to low numbers for the 3rd year in a row, I would employ him full-time. He would have his now juniors and senior class next year to finish their certificate, and he would be able to teach blueprinting to the other labs. Steve wanted the program to stay open. Last year, I arranged the meeting with the teacher from Fredericktown who teaches Project Lead the Way and Steve. There was no reason why we could not tap the 230 students that were enrolled in their program. After the visit, I was not present during their meeting. It was indicated to me by Steve that he did not want to go that direction. It would mean changing up curriculum. Still, the numbers were low. We had 10 enrolled this year in the program. You were right. The bad atmosphere you talk about was there. Students were starting to be used, which is something we will not tolerate at the school. In this last board meeting, Steve was very agitated. His closing comments were, You will feel pain like you have never felt it in your life. You will suffer as no other. And this school will make history like no other school. I left the school that night after 10. I reached legal counsel in the morning since we could not determine what type of threat we had to remove Steve until it could be investigated. He has been removed without pay until we are given direction from our prosecuting attorney. You talked about the suspension earlier this year. He wanted his students to go to Mount Vernon Middle School for a career activity, I believe in December. He was told by his supervisor not to send the students. He did anyways. He was found subordinate to his supervisors and suspended 3 days out of the school without pay. This was the email that Bernie Packmeyer had sent. Now, I am sure you are all questioning some of the wording in this email, but I have chosen to read it exactly as Ms. Packmeyer sent the email. Not only was a supposed threat from Mr. J in quotation marks, noting it was supposed to be a direct quote, but Ms. Packmeyer surely misquoted him with the like not other school. And if Mr. J had been subordinate, as she stated, isn't that what he is supposed to do? This email from Ms. Packmeyer broke my heart with bias and slander toward Mr. J, not to mention the untruths. Is this the kind of leadership we want for the Knox County Career Center? Unfortunately, time is limited, and this is only a small part of a much larger problem with the administration. I ask the board to please take the time to get to know the instructors, teachers, and students at the Knox County Career Center. Speak to them, listen to them, and please take the appropriate actions. It is the board's responsibility to make an informed decision on the best interests of our students, school staff, and community. I remind each and every one of you seated on our board tonight, and you, Ms. Packmeyer, you work for us, the public. I ask the board to take the time to consider the continuation of the engineering drafting program, Mr. J's employment, and reconsider Ms. Ann Johnson's employment, and allow Mr. J to recruit as he has not been allowed to do. I believe these poor decisions to discontinue these individuals' employment and engineering drafting program are due to the prejudice and the superintendent's personal agenda. Stop this reign of terror and the destruction of our Knox County Career Center. Thank you.
Students as if they were their own children. They make sure to do what is needed to help a student succeed. They go out of their way to see to it that their hard work is acknowledged and rewarded. I remember getting a letter from the director at the time, Mr. Hornick, congratulating me on passing my state board test. I was giving a certificate from Mrs. Sheets and Mrs. Ford for getting straight A's in her class. And most of all, I always remember the multiple personal letters of encouragement given to me by Mrs. Curry that I still have to this day. My experience at the Career Center was wonderful and memorable. Many elements helped shape my memories and what later I realized to be my future. One of these elements was the Skills USA program. I've learned that the school is no longer a participant in that program. Without being a part of this, I would not have some of the skills that I possess today. I'm asking that the boards please reconsider the school's involvement with that program. It's not all about a competition, it's about the skills acquired while preparing for that competition, like speech and job skill demonstration. I know this because I competed at the state level during my senior year. By April of my senior year, I had already passed my state board of cosmetology exam. This meant that for half a school day, I was able to work in a salon and was not even graduated from high school yet. I attribute my success in passing my state board exam to Mrs. Warby and Mrs. Curry. The information taught in the program needs to have a large emphasis on preparing for the state exam. The whole point of the program is not just to receive a certificate of completion from the program, but also to attain a license to the state. No industry professional, including myself, will hire someone who is not licensed. I have no hesitation hiring someone who's graduated from this program and is licensed, knowing they've been mentored by both Warby and Curry. I'm very disturbed to hear of how the teachers and students are being treated by administration. No one should have to work under such a hostile work environment. Teachers and students should feel comfortable that they can talk to administration with concerns and not be reprimanded for it. They cannot continue to work in this environment. The school has lost at least 3 great employees, including Mrs. Sisler. Who will students lose next? A great counselor or a great teacher? To all the board members, I hope you can see what's happening here. I think it's your responsibility to privately ask the teachers about their experiences with administration. The reputation of the school has been severely bruised. I know this because several clients at my business have asked me what's going on there, knowing I still have ties to the school. Most of them are not even from the Mount Vernon area. News travels fast. Obviously, bad news travels faster. If you think enrollment is down in some programs now, imagine next year when parents don't want their children going here because of all that they've heard. I have 2 children of my own, and I hope that the school's still around when they're old enough to attend. As a taxpayer, I have questions for all of you. First being, what school programs have been initiated out of the superintendent's trips to Las Vegas, Florida, and China at my expense? Where's the 11,000? Where is the $11,000 that was spent that there are no receipts for? And I'm personally asking the board that you restore the reputation of the school by doing whatever you feel is necessary to ensure that the students are put first again. The teachers at the Career Center respect and take pride in their students, and I believe administrators should do the same. I'd like to personally thank the whole entire board for giving me the opportunity to speak, and also for Mrs. Paula Barone for taking the time to take my phone call and give me her undivided attention, and be very friendly and not make me feel intimidated when I gave her a phone call. And for those that actually did take the time to let me know, sent me letters, or left me a voicemail about how I was to speak today. Thank you.
Sorry if I just think that way. Because right now I'm here as a school board representative. Did all of you get the letter that Mr. McClung sent out in your packets?
Can you go to the mic?
We can't hear you.
There's a letter.
Cord? Mark's the cord. You don't have much.
There's a letter sent out to all the other county schools from Mr. McFarland on Knox County Career Center letterhead, stating that there is, and I appreciate calling me a gentleman going around stating that their schools don't have representation to the Career Center. It's kind of baffling to me because I'm a board member on the school board that he's supposedly represents. And he didn't let anybody else, he didn't want anybody else to know that. And I just wasn't going around telling that. I actually had permission from Centerburg School Board to do so. So that's quite confusing where that letter actually came from. And the last sentence on it was something to the terminology of, if we want to know anything about what's going on here, we should contact our representative. Now, I thought a representative was supposed to be in contact with who they represent, not the other way around. Now, as a board member, I talked to Mr. McLaren back in January, and when I was understanding how the board was put together and everybody's position, and as a board member, I made an open invitation for you to attend our board meetings. We've had 3 board meetings since that time period, and you've not attended one of them. Any reason why you have not attended? Just didn't want to?
I don't want to. Really, Jason, you being a board member, you should know that you cannot come up and directly question a board member, any of us, on this topic.
You can question, you can't answer.
I used to go to all the school board meetings.
How long ago?
It's been several years ago, and
Well, it's been almost 30 because,
I was told every time the superintendent
no,
would take.
you've been given 3 months to be there.
I'm
And
letting
you
you.
haven't done it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't care what happened in the past. I gave you an open invitation, and I told you I would make sure you sat up there, you were recognized, and that I was the person be asking you questions about what's going on up here. And you're not tonight. So,
But every time that you've attended one of our meetings, we've always asked you what's going on in Centerburg and if anything that you want to talk about, right?
No.
so what's going on here doesn't matter in Centerburg. It's what goes on in Centerburg matters here.
Sure, we want to know what's going on in Centerburg.
How do you find that out?
Go to a meeting.
The next thing is the Skills USA competition. That don't people talk about. It's just not a competition where our students go out and participate. It's a measure of our school of how well we are to other schools. The other thing is, you might know the number a little bit better. Last year at that skills competition, how much money was offered in scholarships? It's, from the numbers I've been given, a little over 20,000. So for that not happening this year, and I know one, from being from Centerburg, there was one kid in Centerburg that because he was not a member of that group this year, he was not awarded a scholarship. So, as a person from Centerburg, I want to appreciate, my deep sincerity to the school for taking money out of our kids' pockets that they could have earned and should have earned. Because last year, there was 292 kids involved in it. That's just not a small little number. That's a mass number of kids that could have and should have had that opportunity. That's all I have. Thank you.
I'm Kelly Bell, president of the Knox County Career Center Education or Staff Association. I've taught English, speech, and drama here for 11 years, and previously I taught 13 years at East Knox. I understand that recently the board had a presentation that dealt with the Ohio Education Association, which is an affiliate of ours. I would like to explain to the board how the KCCC-SA came to be affiliated with the OEA. Since its inception, the KCCC-SA was a part of the Professionals Guild of Ohio, which was an offshoot of the Ohio Federation of Teachers and the American Federation of Teachers. Due to infighting between the leaders of those two associations, Chauncey Mason from PGO and Sue Taylor of OFT, on October 31st, 2009, the Professionals Guild of Ohio severed its ties with OFT-AFT. The PGO typically represents public employees in areas such as children's services and DD. By cutting all ties with OFT and AFT, the PGO made us, the Knox County Career Center Staff Association, the only educational entity within the PGO, with the exception of 15 bus drivers in Northridge near Dayton. As a result of severing ties with OFT-AFT, no members of the KCCC-SA had liability insurance, and the PGO refused to provide such insurance for us, even at an additional cost. It was at this time that KCCC-SA members decided to look elsewhere for an association that truly represented education employees and knew school issues. Since we were still operating under a collective bargaining agreement through the PGO, we were not legally able to leave the PGO until July 1st of 2010. We chose to join the Ohio Education Association, an affiliate of the National Education Association. This vote was completed through the State Employment Relations Board, or SERB, with all KCCC-SA members having the opportunity to vote. OEA was unanimously selected as our representative. OEA represents 130,000 teachers, faculty members, and support professionals who work in Ohio's schools, colleges, and universities to help improve public education and the lives of Ohio's children. OEA members provide a wide range of professional education services in communities throughout the state. OEA's mission is to lead the way for the continuous improvement of public education while advocating for members and the students that they serve. Through OEA's more than 150-year history, members have been involved in every struggle and effort to advance the finest of America's dreams, a quality education for every child. OEA's vision is, the Ohio Education Association is the hallmark for excellence in education. Its core values are, public education and academic freedom form the foundation of American democracy. All learners have the fundamental right to an equitable and adequate public education in a safe climate that recognizes, respects, and utilizes individual differences to create an optimal learning environment. OEA's most valuable resources are the people who make it strong, its members, leaders, and employees. I have been an OEA member throughout my career of 24 years. Through my involvement with OEA, I have helped to establish policy for the organization as a representative at the district, state, and national level. I have lobbied in Washington, D.C. against parts of No Child Left Behind and for full funding of IDEA. I have scored Ohio's applications for Millikan Scholars, served on Governor Strickland's Institute on Creativity and Innovation in Education, met with then Governor Strickland twice regarding his education plan, and worked in a coalition through the Grantmakers Forum proposing standards for students and teacher quality in Ohio. This level of involvement in education was only possible through my affiliation with OEA-NEA. Knox County Career Center Staff Association members now have access to real professional development, fair representation, and crisis activities. Did you know that OEA works with boards of education and administrators to pass levies? OEA also has employees who have been trained by the National Organization for Victims Assistance. Those individuals are available whenever and wherever a tragedy befalls a school, from a fire to violence to a student or staff death. OEA is not a confrontational entity, no matter what you've been told. Let's face it, 95% of what school boards and administrators want is the same that we teachers and other educational employees want, a quality public education for every child. Even in areas in which we differ, there is often a little problem. Take negotiations, for example. Jeff Kessner, our labor relations consultant through OEA, also serves several surrounding schools, including 4 of our feeder schools, Centerburg, East Knox, Fredericktown, and Mount Vernon. The following schools are some of those that have had Jeff's assistance in bargaining. These are the timelines and methods used in negotiations for these schools. Bargaining traditionally, East Knox settled their contract in 8 hours. Bargaining traditionally, Cardington settled their contract in 1 day. Bargaining through interest-based bargaining, Centerburg settled theirs in 2 days. Highland settled all non-economic issues with traditional bargaining in 4 hours, and Mount Vernon did the same in 9 hours. The negotiated agreement between the Knox County Career Center Staff Association and the KCCC Board of Education took considerably longer. It took over a month to get set up a mutual meeting time to exchange proposals. I've bargained 6 contracts now between the 2 districts in which I have taught, and the last experience was by far the worst. Canceled meetings, rescheduled meetings, federal mediation, all of these issues compounded a process that began in April, yet was not concluded until mid-November. It is important that you understand that there are real issues and real problems here at the Career Center. Do not blame the fact that OEA is our new representation and is the problem, or that I, as president, am a troublemaker. I was president for years when we were part of the PGO, and I have been president since we joined OEA. The local leadership of the association has not changed. We are the same teachers and education professionals that have been in our positions here for years. We are the same professionals who put our students' needs first. It is not necessary for such posturing to occur between the association and the board and its administrators. We need to work together to put our students first. The community deserves that, the staff deserves that, and certainly the students deserve that.
here a little bit earlier, but just in case you forgot, I teach the Business and Finance Academy here at the Career Center. I wanted to address the board tonight to express my thoughts and feelings on the importance of a positive working relationship between labor and management. I feel that for an organization to succeed, there must be a mutual understanding as to why the organization exists. And for us here at the Knox County Career Center, it's the students. Management is a large part of my curriculum. In my lab, students learn the importance of things like empowering your employees, that employees' opinions and ideas are important and have value. They learn that discipline and guidance is sometimes necessary as a manager, but humiliation in any form is not an option. We also learn in my lab that a company's most valuable resources are its human resources. We also learn that for an organization to be successful, there must be a true spirit of teamwork. There must be honesty, desire to work together toward common goals. We must be aware of the reason that we are all here, and again, it's for our students. There must be mutual respect, and at times there needs to be compromise. But never should there be fear or intimidation. I've been here at the Knox County Career Center for 24 years. I was a student here. In fact, my teacher is here, who taught me here at the Knox County Career Center, Mrs. Sally Parsons. I started in the adult education department, where I made many good friends, and I still have friends in that department. I worked in the offices here in the building, then I went back to school to get my business degree, and I became a teacher. In that quarter of a century that I've been here, there have been many changes. We've had 3 superintendents, 4 directors, 2 teachers in every lab at one time. I was here when smoking was still allowed in the teacher's lounge. We've had separate unions for certified and non-certified, and then one union for both. I was here during all the remodeling and construction, and sadly, I was here during the loss of coworkers and friends from our family. I've been fortunate enough to work with many wonderful people who served as role models to me in many different ways. Howard Workman, who was a supervisor here, he taught me that students need to know you're there for them for the good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly. Students deserve second chances, and we accept students for who they are, allowing them to express themselves. I worked with Rick Hornick, who was the director here, and he taught me the importance of details and sticking to your word. He taught me the importance of fairness, and he believed in me when I went back to school to get my business degree. And I worked with Debbie Sisler. I need to say that Debbie Sisler is my ultimate role model. She's the epitome of class and integrity. She taught me that discipline and guidance are possible without taking away a person's dignity. Through all these changes in staff, policies, and life in general, our staff and management were able to work together. I feel that this is still possible today. To reinforce this feeling that I have, I'd like to share just a short story on an experience I had as a participant in a Knox County Career Center Staff Association meeting, an executive committee meeting, where one item up for discussion was the $500 stipend given to lab teachers if they had 22 or more students. We felt as a committee that this stipend was unfair, it was an unfair labor practice. At this meeting, as a group, we unanimously decided that in the interest of fairness to all teachers and in the interest of following our recently negotiated agreement, we needed to make our feelings known to administration. We decided we wanted to meet with administration and propose that we work together to come up with a possible alternative instead of just simply receiving that $500. We sincerely wanted to collaborate with administration toward a solution. We never wanted to take away the stipend from fellow teachers. Currently, I'm worried. I'm worried we've forgotten our purpose. I'm worried about morale. I do believe, however, we can get back on track. We need to get back to the reason we're here. It's not to see who has the most power or who is the strongest willed or who can get the most supporters on their side. It's for the students. I feel that the first step of getting back on track is to rebuild a positive working relationship between labor and management, one that's built on honesty, trust, and common goals. And one of the most important common goal is a quality education for our students. Our school has built a wonderful history and reputation. Let's not let that slip through our fingers. Thank you.